underworld police that don't take bribes? Why would a goddess walk back to daylight, with silent enforcers glued to her shoulders? And why do they insist someone must be taken, right now? The first payoff is weirdly practical. In the old Sumerian telling, these Gallû don't eat temple offerings, don't drink libations, and don't accept gifts. They aren't tempted. They don't have families to soften them. They just do the job. Picture the evidence. A clay tablet, baked hard, lines of wedge marks. In those lines the Gallû aren't introduced with a genealogy or a dramatic origin. They show up like a summons. That's why they feel modern, not a dragon, not a rival god, more like an unstoppable process server. Here's the twist scholars love pointing out. The Sumerian word Galla can mean a human, policeman, and it can also mean a demon. Same sound, two worlds. That double meaning is the clue. In the myths, Gallû behave like officers of the underworld, not judges, not kings, collectors. If they're police, what law are they enforcing? It's the rule of exchange. The underworld runs like a strict office. If one person returns, paperwork demands another name. So when the goddess climbs upward again, the Gallû climb with her. They don't celebrate. They don't bargain. They insist on a replacement, and they start scanning the living the way an officer scans a crowd. In the next section, watch what they do when they meet mourners, and what happens when they find someone who isn't mourning at all. Now to the clearest scene we have. The goddess is allowed back up from the underworld, but the Gallû escort her like guards on a prisoner transfer. Outside, the world is sunlight again, yet they move as if the underworld is still wrapped around them. They make their demand simple, a replacement. And then they try the obvious targets first, the loyal people who did their jobs while she was gone. In the poem, these mourners meet her in their own cities. Sitting in dust, wearing rough, dirty clothing, throwing themselves at her feet. The Gallû step forward anyway, as if reading an order, move on. We'll take this one. Each time, the goddess blocks them. She argues like a supervisor protecting staff. This one served me, this one grieved for me, this one stayed faithful. The Gallû accept the delay, but not the cancellation. Notice what the story tests. It's not, can you defeat demons? It's, did you perform the right signals of grief and loyalty when the boundary of death opened? And then the camera swings. They find her consort resting in fine clothes, not mourning, not dust-covered, not acting like someone who just lost a god. The goddess points. The Gallû don't hesitate. That's the moment they become terrifying. No rage, no speeches, just enforcement. Other poems keep the pressure on. In Tales of His Flight, the Gallû are hunters with patience. He runs, hides, changes plans, begs friends, and the Gallû keep closing the circle. The underworld isn't a monster here, it's a system, and the Gallû are its hands. So what can we actually prove, beyond the drama of the myth? First, the Gallû are not just a story prop. Lexical lists and dictionaries preserve the double use of the word, policeman and demon, suggesting ancient scribes themselves heard that overlap. Second, in the wider world of Mesopotamian ritual, exorcists didn't just fight one named villain. They worked from long lists of dangerous forces, demons, ghosts, curses, illnesses, and recited standardized incantations to push them away. Some of those texts were copied and recopied for centuries, and later scholars even wrote commentaries on tricky lines, like students studying a difficult law code. This changes the vibe. The Gallû aren't a Halloween monster. They're closer to a legal threat. If you cross the boundary, something will come to collect. What we can't prove is a single fixed appearance. The texts don't give us a consistent face, and later art and modern imagination happily fill that gap. Even the name shifts between languages. Sumerian Galla and Akkadian Gallû can point to overlapping ideas, not a single character with one biography. Also, later cultures may have borrowed the feel of an underworld kidnapper into new folklore, but pinning a direct line is tricky, and the safest move is to treat that as an echo, not a fact. So here's the clean takeaway: earliest sources make the Gallû into enforcers of exchange. They make the underworld's rule actionable. Next episode, we jump far west and much later, Asmodeus, how a dangerous name travels, changes, and gets rewritten. Final question: if you met the Gallû at your door, would you fear them more as monsters, or as paperwork you can't escape?